A Fox Business Alert now. Louisiana Senator David Vitter saying that a new report from the Inspector General confirms what he believed all along, that the Obama administration deliberately disregarded information to push forward with what he calls a destructive deepwater drilling moratorium.
Senator Vitter joins us now on the phone. Senator Vitter, by the way, before we discuss what you've learned about the oil moratorium, we want to get your thoughts about today's recommendations from the Federal Debt Commission to cut federal red ink. Have you read the report? Do you like what you hear so far?
I've just read the headlines. I haven't read the report, so I'll be looking at the details. But it seems to have something in it for everybody to dislike and shoot at, so it'll be an interesting discussion.
So you think it needs to go further?
I don't know. I'm going to read the details, but it's certainly very comprehensive.
Okay. Now let's get to the issue at hand here. You're saying, in essence, that the president deliberately impeded things and pushed through a moratorium that shouldn't have been pushed through on these deepwater drillers. What's at the heart of your complaint and your concern?
Well, not only did they do that, but they doctored this report of experts to make it seem as if experts were recommending the moratorium, when that was never the case. So it's really a shame that this whole push was promoted by politics and not science and not expertise, and this IG report really lays that out very clearly.
Now, in fact, some of those experts that were called in, the scientists, to testify about the effects of a moratorium have complained. They've complained that they were used to support a ban, which in fact wasn't the case. Has the White House admitted that they somehow distorted the views of these scientists, this peer commission?
I don't know exactly what the White House has said, but it's perfectly clear that they did that. They really used and abused these scientists, these experts, to back a political position that they wanted to advance when the experts were not in favor of the moratorium, were not recommending that at all.
Well, let's just look at some other facts, and that is that there are entire marshland islands off the Louisiana and Alabama coastline that are destroyed. They're dead due to what happened with the BP drilling situation. Do you not believe that any move should have been taken to at least do a stop and breathe moment where we had to look and see what the problems were so we could fix that situation?
Oh, maybe for a few days, but nothing like a 6-month moratorium. You know, when we have plane accidents, we don't halt all air travel for 6 or more months. When we have mining accidents, we don't shut down the entire industry for 6 months or a year. And there was nothing that justified that, and this IG report now underscores that, because the White House really used these experts to push the moratorium when the experts were not in favor of it.
Senator, thousands of people were thrown out of work because of this moratorium. Are they getting their jobs back? Are things returning to normal as far as the drilling situation is concerned?
Unfortunately, we're a long way off from that. There is still a de facto moratorium, and I want to repeat that because it's awfully important. Right now, there is still a de facto moratorium.
Okay, let's clarify that. If I'm hearing you correctly, that means that while they say there's no moratorium, they're not issuing permits or any exploratory drilling.
They say the formal moratorium is lifted, but they're not issuing permits, so it's a de facto moratorium, and there's no end in sight to that. So we're still hurting in terms of those lost jobs and lost economic activity along the Gulf. Of course, it's hurting the nation in terms of energy independence.
Is there any way that Congress, of course there's a new Republican House, can sort of force the hand of the EPA to grant permits, or the Interior Department to grant permits that aren't being granted now?
Well, I certainly hope we're going to have hearings and look into that very fully. I think several folks are going to be aggressive in that direction. But at the end of the day, you know, the problem is permits need to be issued by the administration, by the bureaucrats, and that entire bureaucracy is manned by Obama administration appointees who really don't want to move forward with it.
Well, have you spoken? Have you called a meeting with either Secretary of the Interior, Ken Salazar, or the head of the Ocean Management, Michael Bromwich?
Oh, many. I mean, we've had several meetings since the initial disaster to push to get things
up
and running. You know, they say they're implementing new rules. They need to be careful. They need to be careful in plotting. And in the meantime, virtually no new permits are being issued.
All right. Well, for those interested, it is the investigative report of federal moratorium on deepwater drilling. This is an Inspector General's report.
Right.
Inspector General is a neutral observer of what happened with the Department of the Interior as regards the moratorium. You can read it online. Senator Vitter, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you all very much.
Anytime. Thank you.